Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're checking out Césure, at least I think that's how we're going to pronounce it. Everywhere else other than the download link in the folders, it's actually written Fisher, so I'm going to probably go by that. But anyway, that is the proper name. So this is a first-person surreal exploration type of adventure, and you know how much I love these. Just looking around, this is by the way the very first thing you see when you start the game. You actually fall from the sky and land on what appears to be some sort of an asteroid with frosted glass panes that seem to be orbiting. I'm not exactly sure what is going on yet, but we're going to try and figure that out. There's a very interesting, like, orange glowing, almost looks like a lava field, but it's just like neon Darwinia-esque polygon stuff going on here. I don't really know. But regardless, it looks very cool, and actually reminds me a lot of something from Metroid Prime, perhaps. So, I mean, really all I know we're supposed to do here is just wander about and explore, and I'm told this is somewhat on the short side. I don't know if I can lose, I don't know if I can win, but it's going to be interesting. Whoa, okay. I seem to be on some sort of a railing now, and there's very strange jump physics. If you couldn't tell, I jump immediately up, and then I hover in the air, and then slowly fall back down. So I would imagine this is almost like a moon-type physics, only not quite as lax on the gravity front. So it looks like it's really kind of wanting me to go down into this little pit here. Not so much a pit, though, as like it's a track, per se. I just want to take a look down, and I do apologize, this video is a bit on the dark side. The game itself is quite on the dark side itself. Not impossible to see or anything, but it's definitely not easy either. There are no options, there are no menus in this game, there's nothing to do other than walk around. So as soon as you boot it up, you're immediately going to be thrust into this crazy asteroid orange glowy world. I mean, I guess I can probably fall off of this, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really want to find out yet, though. I want to walk around up here a little bit more before I doom myself to descending deeper and deeper. I'm not sure if I can actually go very far up in this direction, though. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but this is one of my favorite types of genre to play around with. They just always tend to be very interesting, just different types of experiences, all just by themselves. I also like that there doesn't appear to be any, like, direct path you're supposed to follow. I mean, I know there is, like, a somewhat of a path, but you can really go off-road. That was a really bad move there. I'll see if I can get back up on that edge. And it doesn't even seem like it cares if you try and, like, cheat through areas and clip to different... Oh, okay, I'm actually up higher than I think I'm supposed to be. I should note any dips in frame rate seem to be going on whether I was recording or not. I don't know if that's just my computer, but it is a pretty expansive open environment, and if you know a little thing or two about open environments, they tend to kill your frame rate. But on the upside, it's like the shading is not exactly super high detailed, so maybe that makes up for it to some degree. This is a Unity game. You know how much I love my Unity games. I'm always eager to give those a try. One of the secret things about why I love Unity games so much is when I do a sound test every single time I do an episode, and pardon me for going a little meta here, I'll try to keep it brief. But I have to do a little sound test each time to make sure that the mixing lines up between my voice and the game itself. And the great thing about Unity is when you click away from the focused window, the sound is immediately muted, and there's no, like, annoying trying to pull you back in, make loud, annoying sounds or anything. It's just, it works the way I like. So from a recording perspective, as well from a developer and gamer perspective, Unity just brings me probably the most easy to find joy when it comes to these types of games. They're just the most accessible to play, and they just seem to really foster a lot of creativity. So I'm down with that. Should I bother going around this circle? I don't know if I can make it underneath that rock. I do want to proceed down soon. I'm going to not keep us here for too long. I believe there was actually a hole here again. Am I mistaken? No, there is a hole, but I don't want to fall in it that time. I have the feeling once I start to fall, oh boy, that's what I've done. I'm probably not going to get back up very easily. Alright, thankfully I didn't fall off the entire world. I'm very curious, though, what is the context of this orange glow and these flashing lights? Is it some sort of a media with a sci-fi base built on it that fell apart? There does seem to be a bit of atmospheric, drone-y type of noise going on in the background. It comes in and, you know, hangs out for a second, then it kind of moves on. It's, like I said, atmospheric. There is a bell chiming. I'm gonna guess somebody just beat the gargoyle demons, perhaps. Good on you if you did. I actually would like to see a few more games with that sort of an ethos to them, where it's like an open world exploration game with no real set goals, and you can play online in like an asymmetrical style where you jump into a game and you don't know if there'll be other people with you or not. Sort of like what they did with Journey, which was a beautiful, beautiful solution to inducing sort of a feeling of isolation and solitude, while also having a meaningful multiplayer experience. And I say meaningful in sort of a lax way here. So, I mean, you could talk to each other to the extent that you could basically just make a little gesture or a sound at each other, but you couldn't exactly explain any kind of complex feelings or ideas. It was just kind of like, hey, come with me, or okay, I will leave you now. That was really as deep as it goes, but you do find a slight emotional attachment to that other human-driven player. Oh, that is rotating, I guess. Just because it's such a lonely environment, you know, you're happy to see another person. And so they play with your head a little bit. I don't know what these shapes are supposed to be, but I find them very interesting to look at. They remind me of some kind of like half onions, or maybe the Onion Knight's helmet. I don't know why we're making so many Dark Souls references in this one. That's okay. And there's just this random like rotating black obelisk shape in the middle of the landscape. Doesn't seem to care very much about clipping. Can't say that I really blame it. I would love to see a game with the design style choices of Metroid Prime, but is way less or completely not focused on combat whatsoever. Just an exploration game at its purest form, and instead of combat, replace it with puzzles. And I'm not sure how exactly you would work that out. Maybe you would need some physics, you know, powered stuff in there, which I'm sure would be quite possible. And maybe this is the type of game that Jonathan Blow's The Witness will turn out to be. But without getting into too much, I did actually see that trailer that was shown in the PS4 conference, and it looked, I don't know, the environment looked really cool. I don't know about those line puzzles, though. They look like they were very pervasive, but I'm going to try and reserve judgment until I know a little bit more about the actual gameplay, and we'll see if PAX ends up revealing any new information about that. I kind of doubt it, but I might be wrong. As with anything that I say, you know, I might be wrong. That is sort of the running piece of advisement that I would give you. Anything you say, don't take it, or anything I say, don't take too seriously, because I could always be wrong, and I'm always still learning as I go about pretty much everything I'm doing, including but not limited to YouTube. But I do really enjoy the way that the Indie Impressions episodes tend to roll out. I like not knowing a ton about the game and experiencing it for the first time with you guys, and I also really appreciate that you guys like that as well. But I also try not to get too into the outside of the game itself stuff when I'm doing these actual recordings. Just this time, I feel like it's somewhat appropriate given that there's not a whole lot else to talk about. We're just going to fall now. Please don't drop me at the desktop. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's too late for me. Oh, geez. What on earth is down here? I feel like we're playing Void now a little bit. Or what was that other one called? Beyond, I think? It's The Void, isn't it? It's not just Void. I think it's a totally different game. Whatever these are, they're an incredibly interesting texture. And the fact that there's like an endless lake of mercury or some sort of liquid reflecting all of this glowing orange, that's a very, very beautiful aesthetic, and I really like it. The silver and orange just by itself just looks really nice. Really just in any, well, most any context. I suppose there are definitely some contexts when it would not look very nice, but... Oh, we've got some sort of a refinery or something going on over here. This reminds me a lot of, like, if you've ever watched, not watched so much as just browsed, like, those various, like, surreal, abstract wallpaper sites. I kind of feel like we're walking through one of those, and I don't mean that in at all a negative way. I actually just love that stuff. I mean, if you saw how much I loved Fracked, then you will know that this is very much up my alley. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with this, though. Oh, what do we have here? Some kind of piping? I think there's collision on the piping. It's kind of hard to tell, though. I sort of half fell through it. I don't think it's good collision, though. I think I'm, like, rolling off the side of it. It may be like a diamond-shaped... Oh, no, I got it. Well, didn't go anywhere anyway. I guess I gotta kind of jump up these if I want to proceed upward. I'm not sure that I care to, though, because there may not be anything else new or different to see up there, but I do at least want to explore to the best of my ability while we're here. This game is very interesting. At the very least, visually, gameplay, obviously, there's not a whole lot to talk about. It's an exploration game, though, so we knew that getting into things. And I do want to know a little bit more about what's up with these spinning... I don't know what you want to even call these. Plates, I guess? They're sort of like armor. Oh, they don't seem to have collision on them, though. Everything's got that, like, hard steel feeling, and then there's just this glowing stuff. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you know me, I don't care very much about that, apparently. I'm sure there's definitely some pretty good snapshots you could grab and make some wallpapers out of this. Let's do one more lap around, see if there's anything important I missed. At this point, if the game went and threw us a curveball and then all of a sudden introduced a new theme or color, it would be very impactful, more so than, oh, a lot of the time. What just happened? Oh, geez, we got platforms to take us back up, I guess. Something about the solitude here is actually reminding me quite a bit of Super Metroid also, and then also these, like, hexagonal grid shape, whatever you want to call them. Also reminding me of Overgrowth a little bit. The endless field of crayons. Well, I guess I blew my chance to go up with that, but I also seem to have clipped through the floor when I tried to jump on it. I don't think I'm going to get up to this. And even if I do get up there, I'm not sure it's going to matter. Is this reflective, too? Pretty sure it is. It's got a very glossy feeling to it. But this is definitely one of those, like, interactive art piece, like, 3D model showroom type games. And I always find these very entertaining. I don't know about you guys, but I just really like to see where people go with this concept, because it seems like the possibilities are completely endless. And if you want to take this from where it is now and turn it into something much, much more, the possibility for that is always there as well. You know, this could go from being just a virtual showroom to an actual narrative very, very quickly. With just a couple of, like, very minor little tweaks, there could be a story to this whole thing, and I could see this evolving into a game, you know, more in a proper sense. Not to construe that making a virtual showroom is not proper, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. More formal, perhaps, piece of gameplay. So people do seem to get very concerned with what's formal and what isn't. Personally, that doesn't really bug me a whole lot. I just like experiences, whatever they happen to be, and I'm always happy to call them out when they are not up to snuff. But I just like the, and I know this is going to run very contrary to probably the common belief of people who would think that making something like this is making any kind of statement, but I find this sort of thing very unpretentious, actually. I think this is just an expression, and I think a lot of people read into this stuff way too much. If you wanted to make this pretentious, I'm sure it's quite possible to be done, but as it stands, there's so little to actually judge. I don't really see how you could really derive any sort of developer intentions and then make a judgment about them through it, because right now we're just walking around, man. That's all there is. But I guess I also have a bit of a higher threshold for that type of thing than some people do as well. I tend to believe that a lot of times people get typecast as a certain character by the media. I mean, I know probably a lot of you believe that as well, but I think that it happens even in such humble places as the indie game industry, or sub-industry, I guess I should say. And I just don't think that it's really worth spending the time judging people over stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to get back up there, so maybe it's not worth bothering. But I don't know, this whole commentary has ended up going in a pretty weird direction. That's fine with me, though. We're going to see if we can get up onto this platform and maybe ride it back up, and then we'll probably wrap this episode up. I didn't expect it to be particularly long anyway, and the game itself never said it was going to be particularly long, so... Alright, things seem to be... No! I moved too much. Now let's see if I can get on this one. I did. I gotta not move when I'm riding that platform up. Well... It may be too late for me. That seems to be the only platform that's going up, and I missed my ride. I don't really want to wait around for it to come back down again. Can I clip right through the side of this thing? No, doesn't look like it. So, I guess, in a nutshell, that's Césure. Just a pretty humble, simple, walk around and look at things type of game with a very pretty color palette. Oh, look, it's coming back down. I'll give it one more try, I guess. Very pretty color palette, a lot of things to be possibly inspired by if you're in a bit of an abstract surrealist type of mood. I will not move at all. No, it didn't matter. I don't really understand what the problem with that platform was, but not for me to judge. Maybe that's making a statement on the futility of mortality, but probably not. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching and listening to all my crazy babble. Hopefully some of that you can relate to, but if not, I am always willing to continue the discussion elsewhere. So, feel free, if you'd like to speak further on something that I've said or elaborate in your own perspective, and I do care about everyone's individual perspectives here, because that's really what, makes a dialogue a dialogue. Feel free to visit the website, www.indie-impressions.com. We got forums over there. Start a thread, say something cool, and maybe we can get stuff going again over there. But aside from just the forums, though, we've also got all of our older episodes, going all the way back to the first one, all cataloged and all tagged neatly for you. So if you're looking for a game in particular, or if you're wondering if I covered something, the quickest way to go is head over to the website and just type the name of that game or the developer right into the search box. You can also browse them by tags and distribution methods, so whatever's convenient for you works just fine. I try to make it as convenient as possible, but I'm sure there are plenty of things that could use improvement. And maybe, if things keep going in as good a direction as they have been lately, maybe someday we can actually, relaunch the site in a more accessible, maybe a little bit more exciting format. I definitely have some plans of what I could do to make that better, but a lot of that is going to depend on how things go, so we're going to keep doing things the way we're doing them for now, and hopefully it'll keep getting better. But aside from the website, facebook.com/indieimpressions, if you'd like to leave a like on that page, you'll get every day's new video delivered right into your Facebook stream. Makes it convenient for you so you don't have to go looking for them, and then I also do the occasional news updates or contests through there as well. So it doesn't hurt, just takes a second and it helps me out, but that is entirely up to you if that's how you want to get your videos delivered. Lastly, if you're an indie developer and you'd like to possibly have me cover your game on the show, feel free to send me over a copy of whatever your game might be, or if you want to just send me a press release or start a dialogue. Quickest way to reach me is at RockLeeSmile on Twitter, but I also have the contact form right on the website. So whatever you want to do, I'm just happy to talk to you guys. That is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching, though, and I will be back again tomorrow for another episode. Talk to you later.